Talk about same-day shipping, am I right?
Perfect. Thanks. Now do as she says. Leave her be.
I'm thrilled about the 6th season's potential, and I can't stop thinking about the narrative changes, the new animation, and the Miraculous Wielders acting as a team in the recent trailer. I've wanted to have an active team since the 2nd season, and I just know the new dynamics and team-ups will make each battle more engaging than the last. In my opinion, having all the heroes available at the drop of a hat will make the entire season more interesting. I suspect that every hero will have the chance to help Ladybug and Cat Noir at least once, which will allow them to showcase their unique skills and abilities. In a previous video, I discussed the different abilities that Ladybug could unlock during the upcoming season, which can be found on the channel now. And now that Miraculous Ladybug has introduced all its heroes, Season 6 should allow them to power up and expand their range alongside their leader. In today's video, I will discuss new abilities each Miraculous Wielder could develop in upcoming episodes.
Mom, Dad, I'm sorry, but talk it over instead of arguing!
Number 1. Cat Noir. Since I've already covered Ladybug, it's only right that I am starting this video with her longtime partner, Cat Noir. There is no denying that he has one of the strongest powers from the Miracle Box, as he can destroy anything at will. His power has a tendency to get out of control as one touch destroys entire structures, and can cause critical wounds to living creatures. Cataclysms are tools only used when necessary with great caution, and typically as a last resort. Ladybug often uses it as a last resort until she knows Cat Noir can use his ability without causing greater harm. Now that it's been 5 seasons of cautionary use, it's about time that Cat Noir gained a little more control over his destruction. With help from Plague and plenty of practice, Cat Noir should learn how to destroy minimal objects or pieces of a whole. For example, he should learn how to touch a doorknob to unlock a door without running the risk of destroying the entire building it's attached to. The 6th season should also touch on abilities that Cat Noir already has, but has been placed on the back burner compared to other powers. Early in the 1st season, in the episode Stormy Weather, Cat Noir reveals he can see in the dark, a trait not shared by Ladybug. He uses this skill to help her navigate a dark building and find the akumatized villain. I want this ability to be utilized and touched on more. In addition, Cat Noir should receive additional senses that allow him to heighten his instincts. It would be really fun if he could hear, smell, or feel an attack coming from a mile away. It could be like his own spider sense, but from his feline attributes.
I thought you handed out all the Miraculous precisely so you wouldn't have to take care of everything and everyone.
Number 2. Rena Rouge. It makes sense for a character already resourceful, but Rena Rouge has the potential for incredible range when it comes to exploring her powers. With the Fox Miraculous, she creates illusions that regularly dupe and confuse her opponents. However, these illusions currently have limitations that lessen their scope on occasion. For example, at the end of Season 5, she can only make one illusion at a time, which is easily destroyed and is only optical. There are clear advancements she could make through enhancing her current skills. Each would strengthen her illusions and make them more difficult to spot. The abilities that come to mind first include developing auditory illusions, learning how to create numerous interactive illusions, and finding a way to make them more durable. Rena also has a secondary job within the hero team as she collects intel and spies on villains for Ladybug. She spends much of the 4th season in this spy mode until she's accidentally outed by Carapace. If she wanted to continue acting as the team informant, she could learn to cloak herself using illusions, potentially seeming invisible for short durations to gather information.
Whatever the akumatized object is, will have to be sly. This kid won't let go of her precious art supplies easily.
Number 3. Carapace. As loyal and protective as Nino is, it's no surprise that the Turtle Miraculous and its shields suit him well. He uses his iconic shelter to protect civilians and allies alike. These incredibly durable shields can travel long distances to protect someone in need. Carapace is always looking out for his teammates, ensuring they stay safe amid long battles. In contrast, there are not many people watching his back while he's protecting others. Carapace could develop an ability to ensure his safety alongside the other heroes. I imagine this happening in 2 ways. He either learns how to create multiple shields to always have one around himself, or he puts the shell on his costume to good use, making it deflect attacks and potentially shoot them back at firing enemies.
Shelter!
Number 4. Viperion. I'm unsure if I've ever said it in a video before, but Luca is my favorite character in the series, so I have a lot to say about Viperion. However, to keep things fair and brief, I'll keep his potential abilities on the short side. Firstly, I'm worried about his mental health, Considering he can remain in time loops for the duration of months, he also experiences things no one else remembers, including losing teammates and potentially world-ending events. Second Chance would become easier to endure if he could figure out how to bring an ally into the time loop. The ally could help him find solutions quicker and shoulder the burden of his discoveries. I also really love the idea of Viperion and Bunnix working together because they know the importance of protecting time and keeping secrets. Another major drawback of Viperion's power is that it only goes back in 5-minute increments. The small range gives him very limited room to work, especially when the solution to a problem could be found 10 minutes into the past. He should find a way to expand his time-traveling ability, extending his time loops and giving him a larger scope for manipulating events. I suspect Luca will be spending much of his time training with Suhan. It's not likely that he'll use the Snake Miraculous often, so it wouldn't hurt if it were a little more overpowered for do-or-die situations.
Second Chance!
No one can know our secret identities.
Number 5. Pegasus. Regarding support heroes, Pegasus has to be one of the best. I was disheartened to see Ladybug use his Miraculous in the finale of the 4th season when he could have had a chance to shine and play a part in defending Strikeback. I hope he has a comeback in Season 6, and from the trailers, it's looking like he will. There's something so satisfying about watching the heroes jump through portals and give their enemies a hard time. Pegasus is also a mathematician and a strategist, so he knows precisely where his portals must go for optimum performance. I want the next season to lean into his personal skills, using his portals as one would to win chess. I expect him to always be 2 steps ahead, creating multiple portals for elaborate plans and traps. In his daily life, Pegasus has created sentient robot life through his companion, Markov, so I wouldn't bat an eye if he figured out interdimensional travel. In Miraculous World Paris, we learned that alternate dimensions existed, but they were only accessible through distinct abilities given by the Butterfly and Rooster Miraculouses. Pegasus could bypass all this by learning to open portals to other worlds.
Here's the Miraculous of the Horse, which grants the power of teleportation. You will use it for the greater good.
Number 6. Ryuko. As multifaceted as Kagami is, it's only right she ended up with the Dragon Miraculous. She's one of the few wielders with numerous abilities and never adhered to the one power before D transformation rule. Her abilities allow her to transform into wind, water, and lightning, becoming all the elements of a powerful storm. As it stands, she can only use these abilities one at a time. But after learning more about herself in the last season, she could focus on mastering all of her elements and merge them together for a devastating, battle-ending storm attack. Not only could she trap and debilitate numerous enemies with moves like this, but she could become an absolute powerhouse for Ladybug's team, with storms capable of overtaking all of Paris.
Well, look at that. I was going to make it rain to put the fire.
Don't worry, I'm on it.
Be my guest.
Number 7. Vesperia. Zoe was a natural fit for the French superhero team. Her strong sense of justice and unwillingness to back down without a fight makes her dependable in any situation. The same can be said of her power when she's Vesperia, as paralyzing venom will always be helpful in a pinch. There's nothing quite like stopping a villain in their tracks and preventing them from doing more damage. If she could paralyze every villain who appeared in the city, the heroes' jobs would be much easier. Imagine how devastated the enemy's forces would be if Vesperia could spread them among multiple targets or fire stingers from her top from a long distance. She could stand on a rooftop and take down numerous enemies without needing to engage with them, which would be a game changer against some of these brutal akumatizations.
You will use it for the greater good. At your service, my queen.
Number 8. Polymouse. There's definitely more that can be done with Polymouse's shrinking abilities. It's fun to imagine someone having a one-person army, but said army can only do so much when they're the size of ants. There is power in numbers, but most won't be intimidated by someone they could easily step on. With that in mind, I think Polymouse would have more tricks up her sleeve. For starters, having a radius where she could shrink objects and people around her would be beneficial. The miniature army may not seem too concerning, but that would change if her enemies were brought down to her level. She could also shrink an akumatized villain's weapons or means of travel, taking away their advantage. Rodents also come in all shapes and sizes. It would be fun if Polymouse acted like Marvel's Ant-Man and learned how to enhance her size in addition to shrinking it. She could become a Goliath on the field, making her the perfect opponent for villains with heights that rival buildings. This would also be a nice callback for her akumatized form, Horrificator. Number 9. King Monkey. I have immense respect for Shupu and his penchant for chaos after witnessing him make it his business to make Gabriel's days worse in the 5th season. I want King Monkey to channel his energy and become everyone's biggest problem. His ability to impact and counteract other people's powers makes him a great ally, and I think he'd become nearly unstoppable if he could expand his power to target objects and areas for a short time. Imagine a villain standing atop the Eiffel Tower only for it to start moving unpredictably. It would make it difficult for them to fight the heroes, potentially giving the heroes an edge. He may also make things more difficult for his teammates, but his powers are always a risk worth taking.
Aw, flying monkey plushie!
I'm no plushie. My name's Shoopoo, you nitwit.
Number 10. Pigella. As sweet as she is, it makes sense that Rose received the Miraculous of Jubilation. She's often a source of optimism for her friends, and I love that she can share that gift with all of Paris. In her debut episode as Pigella, she manages to save her best friend from crippling guilt. Currently, Pigella can give people their greatest desire to soothe their hearts. In the next season, I hope she learns how to extend this gift to numerous people. For example, she could learn how to calm and soothe numerous civilians at one time to prevent mass panic. An ability like this would be incredibly useful in situations like the Season 5 finale, where people worldwide were akumatized. She could also learn how to temporarily manifest someone's positive emotions into objects or protective constructs. Akumas often attack based on negative emotion, so a shield made out of pure positivity could act as a secondary defense to protect frightened civilians. It'd also be very sweet to see Pigella comfort a child by manifesting their favorite toy in a crisis. She could quickly become the hero for the people. Number 11. Rooster Bold. Rooster Bold is a hero I desperately want to see more of. I'm obsessed with Mark's level of confidence when he's in his hero costume, as it definitely feels like he has an alter ego on the same level as Cat Noir. His superpower is also incredible, and I'm surprised it took 5 seasons for someone to receive the Rooster Miraculous. With his ability to have any skill or power, so long as another Miraculous does not wield it, he could defeat any enemy that crosses his path. The only drawback of his power is that you can only use it once per transformation. I'm uncertain if this will change once he reaches adulthood, but if not, Rooster Bold would benefit from a redo button. Either he extends his abilities to include 2 power choices, or he finds a way to reset his last decision. With that in mind, his ability could work well alongside Viperion, as they can work together to find the perfect ability necessary to save the day.
You're up, Rooster Bold. You can't score a goal if you don't take a shot.
Number 12. Caprikid. Some of the Miraculouses seem made for their wielders, and that's the case for Caprikid. As an artist in his free time, wielding a giant paintbrush that can create any object or construct showcases his unique abilities. Currently, Caprikid can only make one object at a time, which starkly contrasts with Ladybug. The only difference between them and their creative abilities is that Ladybug can't control what object she summons. I suspect she'll learn to master her power in time, and Caprikid deserves some upgrades to maintain relevance in the team. The first ability he should master is creating multiple objects at a time. These objects could even be small at first, allowing for quick and versatile tools to use as weapons or distractions. It would also be very fun if Caprikid realized how to reforge his constructs to alter or combine them mid-battle, making him adept at adapting to changing situations.
I'm granting you all the power to indefinitely use your powers. No more time limits. No transforming back.
Number 13. Minotaurox. Invulnerability is straightforward. Minotaurox is like a human battering ram that can face akumatized villains head-on, without taking unnecessary risks. He should be the French superhero team's first line of defense when dealing with new and intimidating enemies. With that in mind, he should have unique battle strategies and attacks that help him fight villains one-on-one. These abilities should correlate to his strength and size. One example could be a seismic stomp, which creates shockwaves by stomping on the ground, disabling multiple enemies simultaneously. Minotaurox could also have an iron grip, allowing him to hold onto objects or restrain enemies. The skill in particular would help the heroes greatly, as they have a habit of getting into high-speed chases with the villains across Paris. Number 14. Bunnix. Bunnix must have so many tricks up her sleeve that the series doesn't know what to do with her. I don't suspect that she will play a big role in the 6th season because the time travel plots can be difficult to manage. That said, given her relationship with future versions of herself, and the fact she already has a Quagatama from Fluff, the series could implement abilities for Bunnix that don't require manipulating the timeline. For example, she could have a time-locking ability that freezes time in a small radius, preventing an enemy from escaping. She could also have temporal echoes, which are a common occurrence in time travel stories. These echoes could act as clones of herself from a few seconds in the past that assist her during battles. It could also be a callback to her akumatized form, Timebreaker.
That's how Time Tagger will be able to send me into ancient Egypt and get me stuck in stone.
Number 15, Argos. This is probably no surprise to anyone, but my second favorite character is Felix. I love an anti-hero, and despite his past actions, I'm eager to see him make amends as one of the heroes. I don't expect this transition to come easy, and I really hope he has to earn the trust of his fellow heroes. And that said, no one knows the Peacock Miraculous like him, and he should unlock more abilities early on. I appreciate that Felix uses his powers sparingly and doesn't take it lightly. He understands that every Sentimonster he creates is a living being, and I don't think he'll summon one each time Argos appears. When he uses a Sentimonster, he should make them count. For example, he could build upon each Sentimonster, combining them with others to create larger, more powerful entities. However, doing so could feel out of character for him, so I want to remind everyone that Felix knows martial arts. He once held off against 3 akumatized villains simultaneously without having powers, so I would love it if Argos took a page from Night Owl's book and relied on his physical prowess and gadgets to help his fellow heroes.
When I merge your Miraculous together, I'll make a wish to create a better world, a free world.
Number 16, Purple Tigress. Currently, Purple Tigress's power feels one note. She's only had the chance to show it off a few times since the series began, and she's missing out on some crucial development. I can't deny how powerful her punches are, but she could use other moves that don't topple buildings or blast her enemies into outer space. Having one attack that does maximum damage means she won't be as necessary on the field as other heroes. To assist with this problem, she should receive secondary abilities that reconnect to her Miraculous. For example, she could learn how to attack others from the shadows, making her undetectable to enemies until it's too late. She could also channel her abilities in different ways. Instead of a punch, she could have a charged roar loud enough to temporarily stun others. Number 17, Miss Hound. From the recent trailer, Sabrina and her role as Miss Hound will receive immediate attention next season. After acting as Chloe's #1 supporter for most of the series, Sabrina may not feel worthy of wielding the dog Miraculous. Witnessing her growth and ascension into a beloved hero will feel rewarding for the audience, and I hope that growth means new abilities. Aside from Fetch, Miss Hound should have abilities that connect to her Miraculous, and tracking down objects of importance. She could share Fetch with her allies for a short time, allowing them to work like a pack in recovering missing objects. She could also have a keen sense of smell that allows her to locate people across Paris.
Now fetch! Etch.
Number 18, Chrysalis. While not a hero, Lila will become a prominent figure in Miraculous Ladybug moving forward. She's already discovered how to use the Butterfly Miraculous differently than her predecessor, and these adaptations will make her an adversary unlike any other. It shouldn't take her long to learn new things about her Miraculous, especially when it concerns spreading negativity and manipulating others. Lila is already a mastermind when it comes to influencing someone's feelings. As Chrysalis, she could develop a skill to transmit negative feelings across long distances, creating a net of potential akumatized victims. She could also transmit her power of akumatization, allowing her villains to akumatize others regularly, having a constant army to help her one-up the heroes.
Nuru, dark wings rise.
I want to see all of our favorite heroes have a new ace up their sleeve. Miraculous wielders have existed for centuries, and there are bound to be tips and tricks that modern heroes haven't discovered yet, especially those who have only used their Miraculouses a few times, which makes them the most inexperienced of the bunch. There's plenty of room for every wielder to grow and expand their abilities through trial and error or lessons with their predecessors. I hope the season doesn't drop the ball on this because I'd love to see all of Ladybug and Cat Noir's allies at the top of their game, now that they're facing off against an enemy on an even playing field.
I thought I would multiply and shrink and sneak under the car, but I didn't have a chance.
There you go!
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
No, as long as we're in the dark about the new holder of the Butterfly Miraculous, there's no way I'm leaving the others on their own.